Scotland, there's another story about kind of, strange things that go on in terms of the upside-down world we are living in. Scotland's prison watchdog has recommended that taxpayers fund wigs and underwear for transgender inmates to support their transition. Critics say this prioritises ideology over fixing overcrowding and poor prison conditions, like many of the ones we've talked about over over recent time. I mean, the idea that taxpayers are going to have to buy knickers for a bloke who's in prison is a bit weird, right?
I just think that, it's another example, isn't it, of a sort of institution that's gone rogue, I think. And in this case, it's the Scottish Prison Service. And I think what particularly upsets me, too, is that we're talking sometimes here about men who are pretending to be women who've got a very violent sexual criminal past.
Yes.
So, for instance, I think this originally came about because a serial rapist called David Smith said he needed to have a wig to be able to live in the body of a woman before he had full surgery. Now, this guy's raped 8 women. He tried to murder his pregnant ex-girlfriend, and he sexually assaulted a 5-year-old child. Why are we pandering to these people? But I have to say, I'm also not surprised, because this is the same prison that we're talking about. And, well, not the same prison, but the governor of the prison, the governor of the prison is also going to be, I think, in charge of the new HMP Glasgow when it comes on stream. And he's on record as saying that he wants that new prison to be viewed as a community facility rather than a prison, a place where you could walk into on a normal day like Costa Coffee. I mean, really? This is not a health and well-being club. This is a prison. And I think we've gone too soft on crime. People are forgetting what prison is for. It is to lock criminals away, to protect the public. It is not to give them, frankly, what looks like a holiday where they can have orchards and lawns and walking routes and gardens and community spaces. Ridiculous. 1 in 8 of the population doesn't have a garden. I think the prison service needs to wake up and realise that actually what it's offering some prisoners is a hell of a lot better than a lot of law-abiding people in this country get.
And you're right. I mean, the quoting the serial rapist and killer and absolute horrendous abuser who declared they have to have a wig on their head, which also spectacularly, I mean, the idea that somehow defines you as a woman because you put a bit of lipstick and have long hair is I mean, it's not just it's a bit insulting, but it's just completely misses the point of what being a woman is.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Why should you make a special case for trans prisoners? I had a look at the kind of items that prisoners are allowed in when they're in jail. A wig isn't among them. Makeup isn't among them. The only jewellery you're allowed, for instance, is a wristwatch or a wedding ring. And yet here we are talking about wigs for men so they can look like women. It is, I think most reasonable people will think this is absolutely insane and a complete waste of taxpayers' money. Spot on.
Suzanne, thank you. Suzanne Evans, political consultant on that point. It's Germaine Greer gave you'll find it online somewhere, a really good piece when she was asked about, being feminine as distinct from being a woman and the differences in the two, which are there for all to see. But to hear a sort of globally renowned academic and feminist making this point was really interesting. And sticking a wig on your head and a bit of lippy and trying to look like what you think a woman is now that might make you look feminine. It doesn't make you a woman. It's never going to make you a woman. And even if you absolutely and passionately, and I've never doubted this, by the way, really feel you're in the wrong body. I get all of that. I think most sane people do. But sticking the wig on, it might make you look like somebody you think you feel like, but it doesn't in any way endorse or authenticate your status as a woman by having some long hair, wearing some frilly pants and sticking on a touch of rouge. That doesn't make you a woman. That can make you look a bit feminine. It will not make you a woman. So the idea that serial rapists are asking for this in prison it's sort of horrific, but it's beyond. It takes perversion and twisted logic to a whole new level when authorities are happy to advocate that the taxpayer should finance it. Seriously. As for the Oxford Union and their pronoun debacle, I mean, get in the bin, guys. Seriously? With a straight face, would you sit here opposite me and say this is a good thing to do? You will mostly be able to tell someone's pronoun. I mean, they might decide to have a different pronoun, but you'll be able to go, yeah, it's a bloke, that's a girl. It's usually that easy, you know. If you wanted to get more personal about it, you could establish it in another way. You know, do you have your little man bits? Yes. Well, you're a bloke then, right? Why would you need the pronouns anyway? What's the desire to have them? It's just politicized identity politics in full throttle, but on this occasion being championed by something as what I thought was as precious and as iconic as the Oxford Union, the free speech debating arena.